I think I spoke about it in my last videos, this deep, deep fear of being depressed. And I'll pick up from that because I want to show a little bit more of the meaning of these emotions. And I've lived dissociatively for a very long time. And hypervigilance was the state of my life, where I would analyze every environment, every experience. I would separate myself from people, and I became a performance piece. The basis of that is that it removed me from all of my intimate relationships because I couldn't experience proximity with people. I could only keep them at a distance. And hence you would actually call that an avoidant. And I don't exactly subside to that philosophy, but I do understand deeply the fear of emotions, the fear of feeling. So through our developmental traumas, and this is kind of a little bit of the structure we're going to be talking about today, is that you will start recognizing that a lot of what you have shaped to be you is really just a search and a performance for love. But it's not really love because you had to reject everything that you are in order to have it. Your primary caregivers being your parents, you're inherently going to cater to the vision of what you believe they want you to be, which, by the way, in a lot of ways is not always true. So you have to be able to understand your feelings in relationship to reality, because then they could bind you closer to reality. And the confusion that's happening with a lot of people who interact with their childhood traumas is they confirm it as reality. You wouldn't even know that to be true if it was shown to you. But the truth is that these feelings are real, and that it could help bind you to a reality of an experience. And then it could help you look back at your past and recognize what was real, and what was what you felt. And both of those things are real. It's just a question of a projection or something you are taking ownership of. And so there is a foundation for healing. And the fundamental foundation for healing is the deconstruction of a narrative of who you tell yourself you are. If that's the first place you go, then you're immediately accepting surrender. Surrender being the letting go of all control and the understanding of what exactly we are here to connect with. Maybe potentially this body of emotions is the reintegration of ourselves into our bodies. And the more that we do that, the more connected we become to the purpose of our life. And so you can immediately say that somebody is not going to find themselves growing or healing or experiencing anything else other than the disaster they've experienced if they are separate from their body. Because to think about what a body is, inherently, it means that who you are, what you are composed of, the wounds that you have, that's where you're going to come closer to your strength. You would need to have faith in that. To remove yourself from that would be to remove you from the purpose of your life and potentially your real. And so what I'm really talking about here is your ability to experience fear in your body and what that helps you understand about you. The other night, it dawned upon me how easy it is to disassociate. You have your LED screen that you can just look at any moment you need to. You can adopt the feelings that you want to feel, even through some of the most beautiful things like music. And you could run away from the presence of your life by immediately immersing yourself into somebody else's, but not even into somebody else's life, a projection of how you would like your life to be through somebody else. And so there's this further isolation. And I notice the isolating nature of somebody who's seeking connection. Are you ready to feel that kind of loneliness? This time, feel it. Because there's something uneasy about being in your body, is that it doesn't feel safe to be there. So your solution to not feeling safe is an illusory safety. And that doesn't keep you any closer to who you are. I'm really going with a strand of consciousness here, a strand of consciousness that's, it's giving me a lot of clarity. It's like we're returning to our humanity in a world that forgot it. Hell, I am. I don't speak to you like I sit anywhere above you. I'm exactly like you. And I think being able to integrate that is what creates the individual, not the removal of everything that I am that you're not. I think it's a recognition that humanity hides its beauty, and that its beauty is intrinsic. And there's a deep shame of what we feel doesn't belong. And that's our responsibility of our life to bring that. Why on earth would you open yourself up to your emotions if they mean nothing? if they're just going to be the thing that pushes away the people you love, well, that's my story. It's yours too. I open my heart, I push the people I love away. I feel these emotions, I'm seen as weak. Now, these are all the convenient narratives for your protective mechanism and your cycles of your life to just continue to repeat themselves. And so this is very advanced work because it's one without the red tape, and we're cutting right through it in this conversation, just me and you. So what exactly am I talking about? Well, conceptually speaking, I think it's an understanding of the masks that we walk with. These characters or personifications of who we tell ourselves we are. And we are looking for grounding, but it's a question of, you can only create grounding in your life with who you are, because all illusions create imposters, and illusions of who you are start to become reinforced because we live in a world where you don't need to challenge yourself in reality. You just need to look a certain way. Now, I promise you, that's not the way you want to start your relationships, and that's definitely not the way you want to start living your life. I think it's an understanding of what exactly is the nature of humanity and what exactly does that constitute. So I spoke about in my last video, I'm terrified of being depressed. That week, by saying it out loud, I said it, I am depressed. I didn't hide it. I was afraid of being misunderstood. Why not misunderstand me? If this is the worst possible scenario I can be, depressed, then I will connect with it. And there's a freedom in that, because I watched the Batman movies recently, and it talks about what exactly is overcoming fear. And it's like, well, there's a power to fear. Fear brings you into your body. There's a visceralness to fear. And what makes the person strong is not the alienation of the fear, but the ability to feel it brings them closer to their will to live. So it's almost everything you need to ask yourself the deeper questions of life and to why you function. It connects you to what you value. And when you begin to breathe it in, which is very metaphorical in the Batman Begins story, I don't know if Rattan could edit these things in there just so you can kind of understand that it's something that surrounds you. It takes you back to your childhood, and it immerses you in a place to where you felt most vulnerable. And a person that's willing to inherently embody the fear, the bat suit, metaphorically, is willing to bring themselves closest to the reason of why they're here, which was shaped through their vulnerabilities. And I think for me, it's becoming really clear. Love. I started recognizing that more, and, well, I started recognizing that I'm terrified. I'm terrified of what it is to open my heart. And now it came to the question of emotions, and this is what I wanted to help break down for you, which is, I have a voice. I have an extraordinary voice, and I know that. But there's a choke on it. I can only experience it as much as I'm willing to feel. And so there's what you call a mouth of your emotions. And to be able to get more connected, or to open the mouth of my emotions, constitutes, I believe, one of the most important truths in a person's life: compassion. And when I admitted that I'm depressed and that I feel deeply sad and I have these feelings of loss, it was almost like I was able to connect with it, and it was like an identity started to fall. I said in the last video, Rome's falling. Yes, Rome's falling. I'm being exposed to the stars above me. Something about the ego removes you from the eternity of reality that constantly surrounds you. And it's like when he reveals himself, metaphorically, is when you're looking up. I was looking up when I saw his face. Well, what's up, everyone? I hope you're enjoying the video. This is going to be for individuals that are seriously looking to work with me. I don't extend that to everyone because it's truly not for everyone. If this content is really challenging you in the way that you feel is best, that is bringing you closer to yourself, then take it in with my community or even in my private work with my clients. If this is you, you can go ahead and click the link below, and my team will go ahead and reach out, and I'd love to see you on the other side. I think that's about talking about the aim of our life. Where are we looking? And when we're most afraid, we start to look at our feet. When an old person falls, they forget to look ahead, and they keep looking at their feet, and they continue to fall. And so the nature of fear is not that it's a problem, but it's your lack of compassion for yourself when you are. Experiencing a world of color when all you've known is black and white doesn't remove you from reality, but brings you closer to its existence as it is. You know, when they talk about a person, being the accumulation of their actions, not everything that has painted them to be up to this point, or their parents or their foundations. I think it's about recognizing everything that the generations before us have hidden from themselves that you will bring to this world. And to say that that's not light, absolutely is. To say that that's not goodness, it absolutely is. Because this light exists outside of our understanding of contrast. It's the light that brings creation into existence. And when we feel most alive is when we're progressing our life. And when we're progressing our lives, we're creating the most. There's a depth of emotions that I'm terrified of, because that means with those feelings I am seen as I am, as I've never seen myself. My reservations, my judgments, my criticisms, my harshness, a lot of that shaped through my development. And I understand that's how I treat myself in relationship to what I don't know. I criticize it, I fear it. So on a practical level, to interact with a fear is more to interact with your relationship with fear and how you feel about yourself in relationship to you being afraid. We often talk so much about where we're aimed in our life. And it's like, you can't even look there because you're terrified to look up. To look up would be confirming of a potential that you're capable of. And when we train ourselves to just look a little bit up, we start to kind of get an idea that what you're really going to bring to this world is another trajectory upward from the place that you initially aimed. And if you could look and you could see that, well, then you could recognize the purpose of your life and the meaning of your emotions. You can create a space. And when I talk about the space that you can create, it's created through compassion. And here's a really good definition for compassion: an understanding without a solution. That's confirming of a truth of mankind's love. That mankind is good. And that you can give it space. And with that space, you can remove all tyranny. And you can give somebody the ability to choose. A lot about my development is that if you've experienced a maternal wound, then your understanding of compassion is also wounded. And I've recognized that in this work and what it is to help people has more to do with compassion and people's cycles, because I've been repeating my cycles. If you're going to watch the podcast before this, I think you can get a little bit of an understanding of I've come a long way, but not in the way that you think. My relationships look very, very similar, but how I interact with myself is very, very different. And I think in those moments I begin to realize that we are not here to just fulfill the basis of our needs. I think we're really here to discover who we are in the face of what we'd be willing to do for ourselves. And then that really gets to show you a loving person. A voice can be removed when you don't give somebody the ability to choose. Because the basis of a choice is a voice. Somebody who's connected to that part of themselves. And for me, I was never allowed to be afraid. I'd be given the best solution that a man could be given. But what difference does it make when you know that you weren't the one that chose it? And so what do you seek to adopt? Well, people that could put you in the corner of what you're too afraid to experience. And so inherently, your voice is removed. Your ability to choose is gone. And you create a world where your punishment creates the best version of you. What if you loved yourself? Are you telling me the fear is what drives you to your achievement, or this love that you have deep inside of you? And we start thinking about the future because more and more people don't want to live. And that's true. It's reflective in the numbers, unfortunately. And I recognize that I'm no different than everybody else. I'm going to experience the suffering that everybody along with me experiences. Because I am human. This is what I share. We start thinking about what's best for us eventually extends to what's best for mankind. And to think that what you can feel for you isn't also what you feel for others. This starts to change our understanding of it. There could be a moment in human history where it's not war, the predictability of human nature, that it will endlessly repeat itself. Compassion is shining a light on everything that we're born to be, and that we can choose that love, and that intrinsically, as a human, that's what we seek. It's not weakness. It's strength you don't have access to because you're terrified of it. If you gave yourself it, then maybe you'd fall apart. What would fall apart is all the lies that you exhaustingly hold up because you're terrified. And you could learn to be afraid and see who you really are. Are you the loving father that stands by the son who trembles and goes, buddy, I'm right here? Are you the loving mother that rocks the crying baby to sleep? Can you understand the importance of being there in your life means that you're experiencing it and then you're living it? Something my father told me before he left on his trip. And it was as I was crying. And I told him, I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. And he was like, well, this is everything that's right with you. You're really living life. This is what it is to live life. Don't let your life be reduced to an Instagram reel or a Europe trip. Because the beauty of your life isn't the constant that surrounds it immediately. It's closer than your soul. And it's speaking with you. A lot changes when you start opening up your heart. There's a color incorporated in a world that has been black and white for a long time. That will change how you live. It will change the source of your actions. And it will aim you upwards. Because I notice when there's that kind of color in your life, you start to really think about what's most valuable.